it is so great to be here. I love that introduction. If you had asked me 5 years ago if I could have imagined myself having all of those accolades and standing here in front of all of you, sharing my story of success, I would not have believed it. Being a businesswoman and being on reality television was never the orbit that I saw my success in at all. I had defined success as being a happy wife and mother and raising a happy, healthy family, and nothing other than that. So being a businesswoman, being on reality television, that held no weight in my family or in my community, and it was just something that was out of the scope of what I could have hoped for or believed in for myself. And the fact that I could be here today and standing here and not apologizing for being a businesswoman or apologizing for being on TV is astounding. And it's a journey that I really can't believe happened. I mean, when I was a little girl, I didn't imagine being in the parking lot of a business that I had built, having a SWAT team swoop down on a party bus where I sat with 5 other women in full glam, anticipating that the armed men in heavy artillery gear were there to be strippers to perform an introductory act for us before we left on the party bus to go on our cast trip to Vail. So this is the way my reality went from wondering if my kids had 3 square meals a day and were brushing their teeth and going to bed by 10 p.m. now became, am I going to be associated with a felony and or be cuffed in the parking lot of my business? But that's truly the way the pendulum has swung in my life. And it's a dream, to fight with middle-aged women in full glam that I'm glad that I've never hoped for it, but now that I have it, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. But I was born and bred to be a Mormon housewife, lowercase h. And ironically, that's all I don't know if it's all I ever wanted to be, but it was all I knew as a concrete anchor point of success. And it was how I had community, it was how I had collateral and clout with friends, family, everything. So I did everything that a devout Mormon girl would do. I got baptized at the age of 8 in a beautiful white eyelet cotton dress that I thought was my first emblem of my purity and the fact that I was going to never make a single mistake, that I was going to be lifted up by the hand of God in perfection and, live this beautiful, glorious life. And as a lot of you know, that didn't happen. I'm standing here today as a bad Mormon. And so I have disavowed a lot of the ways that I was raised, but this is the track that I was on. So baptized at 8, went to BYU and pretended to pursue a degree, but really I was there to start my life and find a husband and get married so that I could be an actual adult and then have children so that I could have an actual purpose. And I thought that this was romantic and noble and the most that I could hope for. And even my own happiness wasn't a metric of the success I wanted. Happiness was something that I hoped for, but if it came at the expense of my children being happy or my husband being happy, that didn't matter either. She who suffers most wins. And I had never realized how deeply that concept was in my bones, that I couldn't even pursue a degree in college that was anything other than what would make me an interesting mom. So I pursued a degree in humanities so that I could, be the docent at the museum and be queen of the moms and share literature facts with my kids and enrich our home with art and music and be evolved, be an evolved housewife. And I really went to get married, but I graduated without getting married. So then the next step was not to determine what I was passionate about and start a career or contribute to the world. I decided to serve a Mormon mission. and I left and went to volunteer my services in the south of France. So now my contribution went from a degree in humanities, which I don't know if anyone here would think that has any marketable skill whatsoever. It does not. I am good at crossword puzzles. I am great at Jeopardy. And those were like, maybe one day when my kids are out of the house, I can apply to be on Jeopardy, and all of my dreams will come true. And this was the kind of thing that I hoped for, some sort of accidental moment of glory, aside from my duties as a wife and mother. And so when I was a missionary in France, that was an opportunity for me to make my big contribution. I thought of it as the Mormon Peace Corps. I was going to go out there, I was going to experience the world, I was going to learn a foreign language, and I was going to get all of these rich experiences that would make me an even more attractive specimen to be marriageable. That would make me evolved and cool, but still within the confines of the success matrix that I was embedded in. And it wouldn't make me look too ambitious or too career-minded, but just, devout and competent and dutiful and obedient. And so I contributed to the world by proselytizing on the French Riviera and telling women to put your tops back on, ladies, and throw those cigarettes away, put your wine down, leave your culture, leave your family, leave everything you've ever known, and live like me. I'm so happy. Can't you see how happy this is making me to wear a helmet and a t-shirt and a dress and to walk around getting rejected by French people 24 hours a day? I have never loved my life more. I have never felt more at one with God and humanity. And it was all this forced, horrible lie that I was trying to make my own. And so I come home from my mission. I'm now about aged out of the community. I'm 23 and I have no beau in sight. And the most important thing I had always been taught was to get married. I couldn't really become an adult or live my full life until I had a husband to do it with. And who that person was not nearly as important as the fact that I had one. And that's horrible for the husband, and that's horrible for me and for my kids. But I didn't believe in that. I didn't really care. I just knew that I had to accomplish these things, and these things were contingent on other people. And so it's a really hard thing to be a woman who is pretending to be empowered when everything that is valued about her is contingent on other people. And thank you. Where are my fans at? Where are my fans at? A little spattering of applause. It really helps up here. It's really hard. Yeah, but it's very disempowering. And so I, got married in the temple for time and all eternity. We didn't believe until death do us part because we didn't believe in divorce. At least I didn't. I had 63 first cousins, nary a divorce on the horizon. I was the descendant of Mormon pioneers. Women had been married on ships at the age of 14, had been forced to raise other women's children, had walked across the plains, had lost their children and buried them in 6 inches of snow, and I was going to complain about my personal happiness. This was the heredity and the ancestry that I came from, of women proving their worth in being martyrs. She who suffers most wins, and that was the noble path that I was going to follow, as my ancestors had before me. I was never getting divorced. I had no fear that I wouldn't be able to endure it. I just had fear that it wouldn't be what I hoped for. Because the second hardest thing for an ambitious woman, or any woman, is to base your life on being a helpmeet and supporter to someone else. And all you can ever do when the chain of command goes from Skipper to Gilligan, I knew that I might be the star of the show, that I might spend his money and decorate the house and raise the kids, but I'm always going to be Gilligan to the Skipper. And he is the chain of command. And so all I could do is hope for, and all I could really do and hope for, is that his dreams and his destinations aligned with mine. And if they didn't, then I was just going to pretend they did, because those were really the only two options. It wasn't like Gilligan's going to steer the ship to, his hidden castaway K. It was just done. I was on the ship, and I had no real sovereignty or self-divination. And, you know, that's soul-crushing, but it's not terrible. It's just, you know, it's just what my parents called marriage. It's just, you wake up, you know, you put your feet on the floor, you work and you live, and you find ways to, you know, carve out a little bit of joy. And that was the path I was on, you know, and that was what I was gonna do for the rest of my life. So here I was, ladies, I had made it. I had a man, I had a ring on my finger, I had a temple marriage, I had my faith, I had standing in the community, and for the first time in a long time, I wasn't invisible. And I couldn't articulate it at the time that that's what happened when I got married and started having kids, but it really was. And so it was this strange transference of fulfillment and empowerment because it was coming. I mean, you could feel it and see it. Is that my time? Oh my gosh, that went fast. Anyway, I got divorced, my life went to shit, and I built Beauty Lab. And just like I think Leonard Cohen said, you know, it has to be broken, that's how the light gets in. I started where I was, which was amidst a broken heart, broken spirit, broken dreams, and I determined what I was good at, and what I was good at was honoring the entrepreneur flame in my heart that all the other voices in my life had told me was not my purpose, was not my plan, and that I had no business wanting. And when I answered that call to wellness and honored that part of myself, I was able to determine what I was good at and also what I was not good at. And that's when I found my business partner, Dre. Where are you, Dre? Oh, there she is. Woo! Because I think the most important thing, the Mormons didn't get it all wrong. You know, partnerships and marriages are a way to fortify and build and, you know, enhance your life. And I have learned that principle so soundly with my business partnership. And I understand now why it's so attractive, why the church's plan sells, why I could tell people in the south of France that this was the plan of happiness, because when you have someone to shoulder the burdens and celebrate the joys and divide the griefs, it does, I'm gonna get emotional, it does make not only your business better, but your life better. So I don't hate all partnerships, just cisgender heteronormative ones. But we inherited a business that was tanking. We were negative $2,000 every day. The doctor had taken out hard money loans overseas that were automatically withdrawn. So before we even had one appointment or booked one injection, one unit of Botox, we were negative $2,000 in a mom and pop service-based geographical, you know, circle of the most saturated med spas outside of Beverly Hills. Like per capita, Salt Lake City is more consumed with perfection and med spas than LA. And LA is, you know, toxic. I'm just kidding. No. I'm kidding, but it was a very saturated market, and it was a business that I wasn't sure that we could make succeed. But Dre had the medical industry knowledge, and I knew what I hated about the medical industry, and I knew that really the call for the entrepreneur in me was to build the business that didn't exist but I wanted to go to. So Beauty Lab is beauty by the people, for the people. We try to empower women to minimize the time, money, and shame that comes with self-care. And we don't want women going into injectors' chairs and having a 60-year-old man tell them that he likes the natural look, when they're there to look anything but natural. If we're coming in to spend our money, we know what we want to look like, and we don't want to have to apologize for it or debate it or have your opinion really on it. Just put the things I need in my cart at Target. I will go through the check-through. I don't need your analysis. I don't need you to tell me I need more vegetables, that I've got too many ding-dongs. Like, I know what I want, and I want to be able to get it without being ashamed or spending hours or wasting time and money. That's Beauty Lab. So Beauty Lab has truly revolutionized the industry. We have a young clientele, but we don't believe in tips. We don't believe in upsell. We sell all of our products at cost plus just shipping, because we are trying to put the power back in the hands of the people that we love, who are our customers and our friends. And the reason we love them so much is that Beauty Lab was the vehicle that, pulled me out from the darkest depths of, face to the wall like a orphan. I was going to be inappropriate, like an orphan. I turned my face to the wall and die. And that is a powerful thing. And work has always been there for me, and I believe in it, and I don't want to apologize for it. And so now that I still have to apologize for the fact that I own a business. There's no one in my community that acknowledges it, talks to me about it. My friends don't ask about it. My family never asks about it. My parents saw the business once because they had to drop something off, and it was always just considered a fun side project, And to have that revolutionize and be here today and be acknowledged by you, to have you applaud when I say that I'm on a business trip and I have a babysitter with my kids, instead of feeling ashamed and apologetic, I'm here with other voices that now drown out those voices that I've heard for so long. And the voices now are saying, be a Heather Gay. And I have voices like Rihanna and Kristen Chenoweth, and women who have done it differently, who have reached out to me and DM'd me. And those are a lot more powerful than my siblings telling me I'm a sinner. So sorry, folks, that's just the way it is. I'm truly grateful to be here. I think that my contributions now hopefully will be more positive about people knowing who they are, knowing what they want, and pursuing it. I used to say passionately, but now I just say pursuing it relentlessly, because a lot of times you don't have to feel the passion, you just have to continue on and press forward. And I am here to tell you that dreams can come true, not just for Cheryl Lee Ralphs, but for me. I'm not gonna sing, but it's just truly a huge moment for me. I am a mind-body customer. I love the software. I'm passionate about the business, and I'm honored to be here amongst inspiring people like you. And I'm gonna clap for myself. Life is short by the lips.